how's it going, you two?
It's going great. You'll never guess what we did right before jumping into this podcast.
I'd love to know what did you do?
Ooh, well, a certain someone hadn't watched Chihaya Furu yet, so
Okay.
he's been tell him, Youngie, you've been watching it.
Marathoning.
How far are you?
We just finished, I want to say episode 3 or episode 4 of the 3rd season.
Oh fuck. Okay.
No way, it has to be like episode 2 or something.
No, it's 3. I can check.
What?
I can check your Crunchyroll account right now if you want.
So
My Christmas.
how is it? What do you think?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna kick your ass. I was ready. And I know you liked it, but if you're gonna pull that shit,
I knew he was trolling. I was like, okay, I'll let him have it.
It's a little slow. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's good, right? Because of course it's good.
It's so
now
good.
Sapphire, I knew you already had watched
Yeah.
it because again, you've got good taste.
Yes, thank you for noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't watch season 1 and 2 again, like all the way through with him. I just kind of like jumped in whenever because I remembered like most of it. And,
Okay.
It was just nice like listening to his reactions.
So I would love to, before we even, very quickly, I guess. Why don't you just quickly introduce yourselves, just briefly? We'll start with you, Sapphire.
My name is Sapphire. I am mostly known for doing English covers of anime and video game songs on my channel. But I'm also doing like a lot of voice acting now, so you can hear me in little bits and pieces of Funimation properties, some indie games, and if you want to look up a list of that, you can check out my IMDb under Cassie Iwulu.
Cool. And Youngie.
Listing it.
Hi, my name is Youngie. That's pronounced young, like what we all feel forever in our hearts, I'm sure. And E, the noise that some of us make when we look at ourselves in the mirror, especially as we grow older. I am also credited as CHANG for a lot of the work that I do, which is voices, scripts, and songs. I write a lot of ADR dub scripts for different anime with companies like Okratron and Funimation and some others that have yet to be announced. I would say in terms of scripting, the thing that I'm most proud of is a show called Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Dinoya Tesa. And I also do voice acting. You can hear me right now in a show called Skate Leading Stars, which is about competitive figure skating. And I play Akimitsu, the pink-haired bitchy twink is what I call him.
Nice. Now they got all that boring shit out of the way. Chihaya Furu. What is your general reactions? Like, I'd love to hear.
I mean, the most immediate thought that I have is I remember vaguely listening in on conversations between you and Jay and maybe some other people who had seen the show all the way through. And I remember hearing that season 3 was when it gets really good. Am I correct in saying that?
No, I don't think it's when it gets really good. That season is just really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it gets good fucking season 1. But,
yeah.
But season 3 has a particularly great, there's a great storyline in 3, basically, that you'll see.
Yeah. As we were watching, even, though we're not very far in, I could tell, they're really starting to use all of the characters that they've introduced thus far. I think a big complaint of mine with shonen-y or sports anime type shows is that they introduce all these characters and then never get back to them.
Exactly.
Or they're woefully underutilized. Togashi. Hunter x Hunter.
Please no.
But this show isn't like that. You're so invested in all of them and you see how they all interact with each other and fit into the world of this card game, and it's so exciting to watch. You really are so invested. You really would die for these children. And yeah, it's the kind of feeling that I imagine people have whenever they watch the Super Bowl or some sports related thing. That excitement is something that I get from this show. So I like it a
Sure.
lot. It's very good.
Yeah, like it doesn't have as much as I love like Haikyuu or something. It doesn't have that syndrome of okay, well we beat them, so they're gone. Even though Haikyuu does bring back characters here and there, but Chayafuru, it's because it's such a small community of players, right? Because it's such a niche game. You're gonna see them all the time because it's always the same fucking like 20 people who come to all these tournaments.
And you never forget them, which is great.
Yeah,
It's like, oh yeah, that guy. Good to see you again.
Pseudo, the sadist, he's great. Any particular? Oh, really? You don't like him?
No, I don't. He's annoying.
I think he's funny. Okay, well, then which characters does your piss cup overfloweth for? Do you know what I'm referencing before we say anything?
No idea.
No.
Okay.
The other night I heard someone say they used the term piss drawer, which I didn't know about. What is piss
Okay.
cup?
There was some fucking tweet or something where it was like there were like jars or something, and people
Right.
were like, "How much do you like each character?" And you fill it up, but they were filled with like
Oh
yellow,
my
and so it looked
God.
like piss. So I thought at least Youngie you might have, but I just love that neither of you knew what the fuck I
I
was talking
vaguely
about.
recall that now.
But it was specifically Chiafuru, I think. Someone had made like a Chiafuru one, and it had like 25 characters on it, and just like different levels of piss in them. So, which are your favorite characters? Which characters do your piss jars overfloweth for? Is my question.
Oh my gosh, that's so hard.
I have an
What is
answer.
her
I know
name?
who.
I can't remember her name. It's the really like smart tiny girl with the big tits and everything.
Kana.
Kanade?
Yeah.
Kana-chan? Yeah.
Yeah, I love her because I don't know. She's like I feel like she's the only sane person in the group. She's like the mother of the group, and I definitely feel for her.
She's very
But,
sweet.
She's
very,
adorable.
Yeah, I love her.
Shinobu would be like a close second, I
Oh,
think.
Shinobu
Ooh.
is great.
Shinobu's so good. How about you, Youngie? Who's your favorite?
I mean, I do love Shinobu, particularly because within the world of anime, you rarely get like great female protagonists, and she is such an excellent foil to Chihaya. For me, it's also Kana, just because whenever she says something, it really grounds the show, especially this being a sports anime. It's so much about the athleticism and the adrenaline. But what I really love about this is it really digs its heels into the art and the emotion of the material on the cards, the poetry. And it's, poetry is not like a particularly sexy subject, I would say, on surface level. But the fact that whenever she is talking about the history of these poems and the people who wrote them and the rules and the imagery, it really takes you there and makes you feel this pathos that you don't really get from a lot of, action-y, shonen-y sports type shows. And so for that reason, I would say she's my favorite.
That's a great choice, and I think also the show does a great job of not only like appreciating Karuta for its athleticism, but also like you're saying the poetry, but it even does a fun job of weaving both, right? Where Chihaya will use memories or I associate this poem with this color or this this imagery, and that poem, that line reminds me of my friend, and so that will help her like reach for certain cards or remember them better. It's just such a good fucking show.
Yeah.
Now do you see why I never shut up about it? Because it's so good.
I understand.
I don't even know
now.
what possessed me to watch it. I think at the time I was like really into sports anime, and I think those were the days when I was like lurking for Chan and like people were talking about it, and I was just like, okay, let me check this out. And before I knew it, I was like 2 seasons into it, and I was just like, wait.
You get
It's the
swept
third
up in
season.
it. It's a killer first 3 episodes, I think.
Yeah, it really draws you in.
Yeah,
they did a good job of
with the
doing
friendship and the oh, it's so good.
I'm a sucker for friendship. I'm a sucker for it. That's why
Yeah,
I love
me
Hunter
too.
x Hunter. Don't judge me. I
Oh,
know.
I like
know
Hunter
it's
x Hunter. I'm
paused.
not like
like
yelling
it.
No,
Yeah,
don't put that on me.
yeah.
I didn't say it. I just said
You
that there were
actually-
flaws.
You took a jab at it earlier.
I took a
and-
jab.
Oh my
that
god,
doesn't mean I
Yanni!
don't like it.
I've heard so many like, actually, guys. Oh, you don't like
Yeah.
Hunter x Hunter? Oh, me too. And I'm like, I get it. Okay. Like,
I never said I didn't like. I like this show.
yeah, no,
there's-
I can see where you're coming from though. In that, oh, you go ahead. So why don't you state your case?
Well, I mean, before we veer too far into like shonen-y territory, the other thing that I wanted to say about Chihaya Furu is, one, I was in a session with Caitlin Glass the other day, and I mentioned that I was watching Chihaya Furu as enjoyment homework for this podcast, and she's like, are you recording with Sungwon? And so so first of all, yeah, like you are tied to the identity of this show, just so you know, in some regard.
So you didn't tell her whose podcast it was? You just
Not
said 4A,
initially, but then I was just like, she was like, is this Sungwon? So,
that's so funny. Okay.
the other thing that I wanted to say was that if I can sort of amend my answer to the question of who my favorite character is, I think it is Karuta, actually. Because to that end, as far as sense memory and using poetry to help aid the characters in the game, I think one of the other things that I really like too is whenever they're going through something stressful or some weird emotional moment, the perfect card will sort of be looking up with like a line from, you know, whatever verse that sort of mirrors what the character is feeling in a way that is so meta and too perfect to be intentional. And yeah, that's all. There was no point to that, but just that I really love how beautiful the poetry is in that. As far as Hunter x Hunter goes, I like the show. I see the hype. I understand why. I see why people love it. My biggest issue, not to sort of ramble on for too long, but my biggest issue is that there's a lot of wasted potential from my perspective, and this is entirely like personal to me, but in my opinion, it seems that Togashi, and I'm sure he does to some extent, but he so badly needs like an editor or like a story supervisor that can help him figure out how to capitalize things that he's brought up in the past. Because from my perspective, he just sort of moves on from, within Hunter x Hunter, he moves on from like concept to concept, and he's really into illustrating and narrating the rules for his different games within Hunter x Hunter. But then you sort of go through and it doesn't really feel like, you know, it feels like he spent more time explaining everything than really carrying everything out in a way that feels satisfactory, that you needed to know every little detail. As opposed to something like Chihaya Furu, which like finds ways to remind you of the little rules and clues you in on what's going on in a way that feels exciting and informative.
Sure.
So I think it has better writing. And something that
1,000,000%.
Yeah. I mean,
the argument is not that which one is better writing. Hunter x Hunter, I can see where you're coming from in that. I know you for some reason just won't fucking read One Piece, but like One Piece does what you. Well, Sapphire, you don't like One Piece?
I don't have
We're
the
gonna
time
get crucified.
for it. I don't have the time.
You don't have time for it.
Okay, I mean I do, but like not for One Piece, not right now.
This is the
What if
sound
I
of your
just
viewer
watched-
engagement, like
What if I
crashing
just
down on
watch
YouTube.
the anime? I'm sure if I like spent the time to watch like maybe like 4 episodes like every other day or something, I'll eventually like.
Oh, I have no
somewhere.
problem with watching the anime. Yeah, you can watch the anime. Eventually, you'll want to stop and switch to the manga, but for like the first several hundred, the anime is a great time.
Several hundred.
So I'm saying it's a great time, Youngie. But for One Piece does what Hunter x Hunter Nintendo don't, in that it basically like will call back and really, you know, that world feels fully realized and and whereas Hunter x Hunter, I do agree with you. I do think like Chimera Ant, they bring back some characters in a fun way.
Yeah.
But I think where Hunter x Hunter can come across as more almost clinical, right? Almost clinical, like very rule of cool, and like, aren't these battles so cool? And
yeah,
they are cool. And because for me, I'm most attached to like Gon and Killua are boyfriends, right? That to me is like what whenever the show, I actually don't read it. I watch the show. Whenever the show really, hits those chords, that's when it really hits with me, is like, some very cathartic, good emotional stuff. And yeah, and then yes, you can, I don't disagree, but I do think Hunter x Hunter does some really interesting things with it.
The friendship is the best part, absolutely.
The friendship and I think is the best part, and the reason why I continue to watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's lot more tell than there is like show.
Exactly.
I mean, I haven't read the manga, but the recent chapters, from what I've seen from friends, it's just like paragraphs. It's like there's no art. Like that to me is a failure. Like I'm curious to see what the anime adaptation, because I think Madhouse did an incredible job with the reboot, and I am actually interested to see where it goes from there if they make a new series, because where it ends in a pretty good spot, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Did you watch the 1999 version?
I did. I've seen all of that as well.
Okay. I couldn't watch Greed Island because I not only do I like I've already hated the arc, like, but like it was that transition from like 90s to like the early 2000s
the animation
color palette. It's so blinding.
It's rough. It is rough.
I couldn't do it. I was just like, no.
It's a lot.
I always say that like sort of early mid 2000s era is like the ugliest anime has ever looked. Ever.
I agree.
A lot of Studio Dean type oddities.
Lots of bright colors.
Bright colors, bad, just
lack of budget showing.
Yeah. 1999 Hunter x Hunter is good. But and some people might even argue it's better than the reboot, but
they each have like their own.
They each have their own strengths.
Yeah. Like I really liked the York New arc in the 1990s.
It's very moody in the
they like flesh out the characters a little more.
I mean, interesting you bring that up.
2011 one, they just kind of.
Yeah.
The thing with Kite, I didn't really understand the Kite.
Yeah,
thing.
they really. Well, because what I was going to say is that my biggest issue with the new Hunter x Hunter is that the best moments are character driven, and because there's so much fighting, the fighting is not really as character driven, and I think that's just a huge missed opportunity.
I agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be times, like, you watch the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the fight will be cool, but it's like, wait, who? Okay, it's the guy with the pipe fighting a lion guy. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's cool, but who cares? So I can see where you're coming from. I still think I love Chimera Ant arc, and I love it.
Part.
Same.
I love it because it's like, it's its own story, and Gon and Killua are just like little side characters in it.
Yeah, and the stakes are so high. That's Togashi being like, no, this is shonen that bleeds. Which is so weird.
Every episode was a heart attack.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Except
it does
for when
drag.
they narrated a little.
Yeah.
When they was talking too much, that narration.
Apparently, it drags more in the manga too. That arc is what I've heard.
I bet it does. I was just like, there's no way they made all this up.
But it's still exciting. It's so strange too, because a fair amount of people that I've seen online have been like, I don't like the Chimera Ant arc. I wanted more of the Heaven's Arena arc, and I'm like, what are you smoking?
Oh no. No, thank you.
It served its purpose. It's fine. Honestly, it could have been shorter.
People love their tournament shit.
I hate
which
tournament
is
arcs.
fine. It has to be well written though, because Chihaya Furu is like mostly tournament, but it's well written tournament.
Yeah. It's well written tournament in that it's like you empathize with a lot of the opponents. usually what's going on is always interesting no matter what. It's so good. Like you said, character driven matches are what make it more engaging. Well, damn, we talked. It's been very anime heavy, which I'm fine with. But before we go any further, I did ask Twitter if they had any suggestions for topics, and were there any that you wanted to cover? Either of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up?
I think Youngie deserves to know about me, Brittany, and Matt Shipman's experience at Nurungji Chicken.
Okay. Yeah.
There's like this Korean like chicken place, like I don't know how far. It's somewhere near me. That like I took most of my friends to, like, anytime.
And who told you about that place?
Oh, I don't know. I found it myself.
What is this place called?
Nurungji Chicken.
Okay.
Nurungji, like the rice at the bottom of the pot.
Yeah. Is it like famous or?
It's a chain, supposedly.
Yeah, is it famous here? I don't know.
Probably
but,
not.
Like they're still kicking. So like I'd like to assume like
there's a big eater. There's a big eater video about it, which is how I found out about it. And you see like,
oh shit, this does look good.
Saf will describe it for you as far as like what their signature thing is.
So their signature is, I think it's like whatever you're looking at right now. So they roast this small thing of chicken over like a bed of rice for who knows how long. And they do it for as much time as it takes for the rice to like crisp up underneath.
Ooh,
well,
okay.
Hold on. You're not doing it justice.
What?
So,
I'm not done.
Youngie goes, Sapphire will explain it.
God.
Wait, Sapphire, you're not explaining the food well enough.
Oh my god! Of course, go on.
All right, Youngie.
So I'm never taking you there.
I let the record show I've gone there once. The thing is that it's been so long since I've last visited Dallas, so like I dream of this place that they have access to anytime. So the rice, we should. Oh, I hate you. The rice, and they deliver to fuck. The rice specifically is rice that they put stuff inside a little rotisserie chicken, and so like as the chicken is cooking, the rice is absorbing the flavors of the chicken, and that's what they then take out and crisp up to make nurungji, and they put the chicken on top of that. Anyway.
And then they top it off with I think it's mozzarella cheese or something.
Pizza cheese.
Melted, which I thought was kind of weird at first, but no, I understand. And like corn.
Gotta put on some corn, right?
Yeah.
And tteokbokki.
It's just all good, and they serve you like the whole chicken,
good.
And like you sit with a group of friends and you just tear into it.
Yeah, and at the end there's the crispy rice, and my mouth is watering just thinking about it. And it's been
I'm
over
really
a year
fucking
since I've
hungry,
last had it.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Brittany Lotta always likes to hold it over my head that they have access to it and I don't.
Is it a local chain to Texas, or is it or what?
I don't think so.
I think it's a Korean chain that then made it to Texas.
Gotcha. Yeah. I wasn't.
Yeah, because I think it's the only one in Texas right now.
Oh, okay. Damn, I definitely want to try it. It sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, before we go into, because I'm gonna ask you, Youngie, for one of your topics you want to cover, but before I forget, and I don't know if I've actually mentioned this to either of you. Have I talked to either of you about like how, actually specifically, you, Sapphire, really inspired me early on in my online career? Have I talked about this at all? Yeah,
no.
You did.
I just know that you really digged my cover of I think it was like the Die Buster opening.
I like that one. I like several of it.
It was a cutie honey. One of them.
There's actually a couple, but you're probably gonna be like, oh my god, when I say this, but the Persona 4 comic dub.
Oh, yeah. I won't say oh my god. I'll be like, yeah.
Happened. But listen, I watched that, and I was like,
did you want to be part of it?
I'm sure at the time I'd been like,
Because I can turn back time right now.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. But I watched that and I was like, wow, one of these that's good.
Ooh.
It made me go, I want to like kind of do stuff like this. And so, I started to make comic dubs as well. Not to say like, oh, mine were good or anything, but I was definitely inspired by like, because it was not only that the acting was good in them, but also I think most importantly, the timing. The timing,
you can thank Chris Zambellis for that, because what
Shout out.
I had initially for the mix was not like, it was so slow paced, and he was just like, no, you could pick it up, like do this, and this, and then I learned from him after that.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah, so Chris is a funny dude.
Yeah, that video it definitely pushed me along like that. Let me try making stuff, and then I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with like my sort of how I got started with Word.
I remember your Goofy impression.
Yes. Well,
I think on Tumblr.
Yeah, Tumblr, right? Even before the Goofy, because the Goofy one was where it really kind of took like quote unquote virality, but
yes,
a lot of my early stuff was like Ace Attorney dubs and like just all sorts of fan dub stuff, and sort of and Lackadaisy was another thing I did a lot of, so that all just sort of stemmed around that sort of era of where everyone was doing that shit. And
That's
so I always tell people like, just make shit, and that's how you get your stuff.
Yeah,
But what's up?
it.
Yeah, you were gonna say something?
I honestly had no idea. Like, that's how you found out about me. I thought it was like my music covers.
It was.
But,
I think it was both. Like, I think because the covers were good. Like, I mean, great. And then I was like, oh, this is a really funny comic dub. But yeah.
I forgot what else I was gonna say.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. Like, my brain's dying.
And I guess Young Yi were in it too, so that's cool.
Yeah, he was in it. Yeah. Directed it. I was like, here, you can be this asshole Dachi.
No, the thing is though, like, Saf really did inspire so many people to be doing stuff. There's a certain like voice acting forum that a lot of our like peers who work regularly, right? But like, to give people an idea, like Saf's projects were like the ones that everyone wanted to be a part of. Like, she really was the cool kid on the block.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was a troll, but like,
I was a troll too.
I remember.
I felt like I could, because I was like, oh, I'm good at what I do. So.
Yeah, no, listen, I was going to say, I remember some of your sassy answers to asks. I was like,
wow.
Whoa, these guys are, they're cool customers.
But I think like I really enjoyed like mixing and like,
I thought you were gonna say making people cry.
Yeah, that too, and like voice acting and all that stuff. But it's kind of weird. I never thought I'd actually like be doing that as like a profession now.
That's basically how I think a lot of us feel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be working like professionally in the capacity that I am today if it wasn't for meeting Saf online and then eventually becoming friends. It is so surreal. No, you didn't.
He came out of nowhere with like this good music, and like everyone was like, "Oh my god, your voice is so great, actor." He's like, thank you guys. Like, the soft like anime protagonist that everyone just is like drawn to. I was just like, I hate this guy. He's trying to outshine me or something. But no, we like, I don't even know, like, I think.
So how long have you guys known each other, like, as friends?
at
Holy
least 10
shit,
years.
since, like,
At least 10 years.
2009, I'll say that.
2009, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I was going to say, I remember the project that it was. Can we say this?
Can we?
It was
It was like a Higurashi dub. Is that
yeah,
what
it
you're
was a
talking about?
Higurashi
Yeah.
dub. It was an unauthorized Higurashi dub, and
Oh, really?
I was, yeah, and I was replacing another actor, and I just remember going through like it was an arduous audition process, like shall we say, and you know we became friends from there. We like kept doing stuff together, and you know as she started doing like more freelance work, she would keep an eye out for me, and like I would help her with like lyric writing stuff and music things, and you know I feel like. Yeah, and then we just
Good
kept in
synergy.
touch. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's I mean for us we've been online for so long and our careers have been entangled, right, with that sort of those sort
It's
of
a small
journeys.
world.
It's a very small world, but also like there are so many like little like, oh man, if it hadn't been for this, if it hadn't been for that moments in my life, even just minor ones where I'm like, wow, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be where I am now. Like I remember I had a YouTube channel, very few people knew about it, and I did like a I did a BioShock song video, which I still think is pretty good.
I actually want to hear it.
I'm not aware of this.
If you still have it
it's still up. You can
like on your current channel, or is it?
Oh
like
yeah, it's still up.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
It's,
Good for you for
it's-
leaving all that stuff up.
Oh, I don't give a shit, dog. I don't give a shit. Like, for me, like I keep the Tumblr up. I keep it all up. Just to be like, yeah. I mean, because none of it's like, there's no like problematic like shit, right? It's not like that kind of stuff, right? It's just yeah. So it's like I can leave it up, and it's like whatever. Yeah, you can. I'm not gonna pretend that I didn't come from this, like this, and I hope it can inspire someone who's like, oh, like how do I start? It's like, well, you just kind of work at it for fucking 10 years, like fucking 5, 6, 7 years without
whole decade.
a whole. You work on it for a decade.
It really is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Truly.
Right, because whether it's for me voiceover or whether it's YouTube, people seem to get the impression that people just come out of nowhere, and it's like no. You grind for years and years and years, and even now it's still you grind. It's always a grind, especially the actor's life is a grind.
Yeah, I'm learning that.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I feel like I really hadn't started voice acting, like taking it like serious until like this year, or maybe not really this year, but maybe like
2017, 18 ish.
No, I'm gonna say when I started actually taking workshops, like that's when. Like,
Sure.
I feel like I leveled up somehow. Like I started understanding like things.
Right.
Yeah, because you'd been doing it for. I mean, because
Yeah,
I'll take
like-
classes with her, and she'll be like, and I'd be like, no, you've been doing this for like over 10 years. Come on.
Let my depression eat. Like, that's what. I'm just giving it what it wants.
Well, there's this. I mean, I think a lot of people when they're trying to get into it, and there's a level of what do you call it? Sort of insecurity, right? Like, oh well, but I'm not in like big things, so have I really started? I think even a lot of actors, there a lot of voice actors, I think it's fucking like dick measuring matches, right? I'm like, oh well,
Yeah.
I'm in this, I'm in this.
Of course.
And then for me,
I hate it.
I'm honestly just like, hey, did you get paid to work? Like voiceover, you're a voice actor. Like honestly,
Yeah.
like or hey, like you like doing this, like for fun, even you're not a professional voice actor, but you can still like it's not. I think a lot of people are just like, well, you're not a this until this, or you're not a voice actor until, or you're not a real voice actor. What the fuck does that even mean, right?
Yeah,
Like,
the rules have changed.
It's like if you're not in my favorite anime, basically, then it's just
Pretty
oh,
much.
Yeah.
I didn't know you voice acted. It's just like, well, yeah, I've done voiceover, but maybe not for anime
Sure.
as much as like for video games or commercial work or educational content, all
And
this
then-
other stuff.
And there's also so much hypocrisy, I think, in I know not everyone, but pretty much tons of voice actors our age, right? All started from the same roots, the same forum, Tumblr, all like.
Where you came from?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I know where you came from. Don't pretend like you just. I came out of nowhere, and I'm a star, and I'm a natural born actor. No, you.
To be fair, I think some of that is also not so much now, but I feel like it's particularly maybe 5 to 8 years ago, some of the studios were like, you cannot mention this, and so some of that new narrative fleshing is driven by fear. I feel like nowadays behind closed doors, like it'll get mentioned, but
Sure.
I understand what you're getting at, though. There is people. They write. It's interesting to see people write their origin stories. Yeah.
yeah. For me, it's like, I don't give a shit. Like,
But I feel like most people like know not to talk about it. It's just like, I don't want you talking about like my past, so I'm not gonna talk about your past. Okay,
Right.
Let's just like keep it that way.
I think a lot of people, and a lot of people are just embarrassed by it. And for me,
Yeah, sure.
for me, I'm not embarrassed by it. Like, I don't care. Like, what?
It's well, I'm mostly not embarrassed about mine, but there have been some times where people are like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. Like you made me cry," or like, "I remember that comment you wrote and it made me upset." And like they're adults who like are fully working now, and I'm like, "Oh, I do feel bad about like." Doing that, like, because online in public,
But
that would not
everyone
be a
was
good
a
look.
little shit. Everyone.
Yeah,
And some
Yeah.
people like, I'd rather you have grown out of it by now.
right.
Some people will just like continue to be like
Sure.
awful.
Yeah, I guess I had the benefit of having the growing pains in like private like live journal doors, right? Because like
Same.
my
yeah.
oldest friend group is like, that's like 2004. That's like I've known like Anne Marie and all of them since for like, God, how long now? Like 15 some years. So that was when I had my growing pains of being a shithead.
Right.
And then by the time I was putting stuff sort of online or whatever, I had matured. At least, I mean, not matured fully, but like not been the shithead, right?
Right.
And yeah, so that's a different story then. If you're like, yeah, I know what you mean.
It's a different arena now too, because online, like, kids I don't think have the room to make mistakes, not even on Discord servers, because something might get screenshotted. But by the same, on the other side of that coin, I feel like stuff on Twitter and the indie scene for games or like animatics or YouTube stuff, like for a lot of people that is sort of like the end goal, just keep doing that. It's no longer, because I feel like in our generation coming up doing like amateur voice acting, it was like someday you want to make it out to LA and like do like stuff on big published projects, whether that be anime or video games or whatever. And now it's just like there's so much,
Wait,
so
so
many
you're
options.
saying some kids these days just want the online success and that's it?
I think it seems that way from my perspective.
Really?
Yeah, like for a lot of them,
I
if
don't
they
think so.
just get a
I
really
think
big
they want
following, then that's
more.
enough.
I feel like a lot of them
I think
want
secretly
more.
they want more, but
Well,
maybe
I
they don't know
definitely
that
think
yet.
they want more. I don't think it's a secret.
Yeah,
In
no,
fact,
they definitely do.
and I've kind of talked about this in the podcast before, but a lot of voice actors want the viral, like the numbers, the online numbers.
Sure.
It's a very, like, I don't know if I've talked about it on here, but I've definitely seen some like, people go, oh, haha, like, they shit on like online, and then like later I'm like, oh, you're on Twitch now, huh? I'm trying to. Okay. Suddenly, it's okay to be online now.
Yeah, it's very
Interesting.
funny.
Now Twitch is the big. Suddenly, now it's fine.
Yeah.
Now it's not illegitimate or whatever to be online. But yeah, and I just wanted to let you know that weird way, both you guys were involved in one of those stepping stones for me, like as in my creative.
I feel so
creative.
old.
I also feel old thinking about it. Yeah. Now, Youngie, did you have a Twitter suggestion you wanted to cover?
I mean, it was going to be the one that our director friend, Brittany Lotta, brought up, which was about Nurunji chicken. But I mean, I feel like that's been covered. So
Gotcha. Then then how about I pivot then, and I'll ask each of you if you would like, because I usually do this, is there a topic you would like to bring up and or a question for me that you have? And if not, don't worry about it. We just
oh no, we came prepared.
Oh, you did come prepared. Okay.
Yeah.
Either of you want to go? Which of you wants to go first?
Saf, you go first.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm actually glad you brought it up, like saying that you knew me from my comic doves, because I did say like I first found out about you from your like goofy sings videos.
Sure.
But I also heard you like sing in like different character voices too, so it kind of made me wonder. I was just like, I wonder if like you'd like to sing, like is that something that you'd like to do for real, for real?
What do you mean? What does for real mean?
For real, for real. Like, I don't know, like you'd want to take like lessons or something.
Oh, interesting.
To like perfect it. Because there are some people who have like great singing voices, but like don't really like lack control or technique.
Sure,
right?
sure. I think for me, for singing, I think I sing well enough that in like in character stuff, like because I've had to sing for like voiceover stuff, but it's in character. So it's not it's not supposed to be like amazing, right? Like like incredible.
Right.
So I think I can sing well enough for that, and
because like I think you have like a very nice singing voice.
Oh yeah,
like,
I appreciate it.
Behind the character voices, like I can hear it, and I'm just like, what if he like perfected that? You know, that'd be so nice. The duets we could do.
No, I do like singing a lot actually, for fun, and it's funny, like I did the fucking goofy snow halation thing recently. I don't know if you did.
That was great.
But there's one snippet where you can hear me actually getting into it as opposed to the goofy voice.
Is it the chorus?
It's one part, I think, near the end or whatever. Like, I forget exactly which part, but if I actually like, it's interesting. Like it's funny that you mentioned this because my dad is always like, you should sing more and make more, and I'm like, it's not really what I'm interested in. Like, I mean, I like singing, but to like
listen to him. It's like my parents never told me that. Like they didn't even know I could sing, even though like I'd been living right above their room like for how many years, like singing my ass off, and they didn't know until like maybe like a year or so ago when I like told them like, hey, I'm not going to med school. I'm gonna try like, doing this YouTube thing and like voice acting, and they were just like, you do that?
How did they respond to that? Because I actually remember you asking me some questions around that time, I think.
Yeah,
and
that
so
was a rough time.
So it didn't go super well, or
at first they were just like, they knew I was doing like a little bit of voice acting, but they were just like, that's just a hobby, like that's not gonna like pay the bills or anything.
Okay.
But they didn't know I had like a YouTube channel, so like when I finally told them like I sing and stuff, they were just like, okay, like can we see like what you do? And so I pulled out my Persona covers, and they were just like, that's you? And like they were excited about it, but they were a little worried.
Okay.
It wasn't until I told them that I was moving out of the house that they were just like, okay, I guess she's kind of serious. And after being away from them for like a year, they started like being more supportive.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I never thought like that would ever happen.
I had a very similar conversation with my parents actually. I forget how many years ago at this point, 20. Anyway, very short, because I've talked about it before on the podcast, but long story short, basically, I revealed to my parents, hey, I don't want to go to fucking grad school.
What a trap.
Yeah, I don't want to go to graduate school. I'm very passionate about voice acting. I have an audience on, like, here that seems to be growing somewhere. Like, it, surprisingly enough, my dad was like, "You should go for it then," like, which was not what I was expecting. I mean, he asked me this question, which was like, in 30 years from now, 40 years from now, if you didn't go for it, would you regret it? And I said, is it something you would still want to do? And I said, yes. And he said, then you should go for it. Which was very kind words, and I never expected to hear that. My mom was like, but graduate school. But, you know, I'm glad to hear that, because I remember you asking me some stuff, and I was like, I think she should go for it. I think she should go for it, because...
Yeah, and I remember I was like so happy that you responded. I was just like, he's not gonna respond. Like he's not. He's gonna be like, what the fuck do you want? You know?
No.
But like, no, I took your words to heart, honestly, and like not just you, but it was Youngie and like my friend and our friend like Jaxie and my sister were just like, just go for it, like. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
That's the thing. It doesn't work out. At least you tried. It doesn't mean you're a failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think going for it that's like courageous, right? So like, you know, if it doesn't work out, it's like, hey, better than never trying, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I also do, like, I say this a lot to people if I say, like, if I personally tell someone that I think they should go for it, it's because I do actually believe in them. Because I have several like friends who, you know, either now or you know, maybe like a year or two ago, they were like, I don't know, like blah 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 blah. And when I see potential in someone, I go, you should go for it. I mean, or you should, you know, and that's no guarantee you will succeed, but I see potential in you. And you were also one of those people, like, that I was like, yeah. I mean, I am. I'm being very frank. Like, if I didn't know you, like for your talent or whatever, then I maybe would have been like a little more, like, I don't know, not guarded, but like a little more. Yeah, you can. But I think I remember being pretty like. What did I tell you?
You were very honest.
Yeah.
I think like you're just like basically like go for it, but like success isn't for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like it doesn't mean like you shouldn't try and go for it anyway. It's gonna be like the road to like success is gonna be like very difficult.
Yeah.
But I think it's just worth trying.
That's what I tell pretty much anyone. It's like, yeah, like, I think you're good, doesn't mean you'll be guaranteed any success, but I would like to see you try because I think you have potential. And hey, like, you're fucking booking those anime.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it.
I'm trying.
Yeah, so that's great. Yeah. Like, I'm
so
glad in a
guys,
sort of weird
honestly.
roundabout way. You kind of inspired me early on, and then I could return the favor.
Time to return the favor.
Yeah. Later on.
So Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, exactly.
Believe in the me that believes in you.
Yeah, I was really grateful for that, honestly.
But yeah, to answer your question about the singing thing, as far as like professional singing lessons go, I think I would only I think I would only go that route if, like, let's say I got a job that really required like a lot of singing or something. Like, otherwise, I don't know. I think if I were to really go at it, then I'd have to. I guess for me, I don't half-ass a lot of shit, right? So for me, acting is my focus. Like, I love acting, right. And not that singing is not related, because you can also it can be involved depending on the character.
Think of how much power you could have.
That's true. That's true. We should sing karaoke sometime. Then you can see what I'm like in my raw state. And judge from there. So I guess my answer to you would be like, never say never, because I do love singing. Like, I do really enjoy it, and Not to like suck my own dick, but I do think I have a pretty good singing voice.
I think you do.
Well, hearing that from you guys means, okay, I guess it must be like...
I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have asked.
Yeah, right. No. Yeah, no, fuck, maybe, I don't know, maybe I will do some singing related videos in the future or something. That could be kind of fun.
You can do what everyone else is doing and sing like Baka Mitai.
Yeah. That could be fun. We'll see. So never say never. I appreciate it though, that especially because I think both of you are fucking amazing singers. So
Saph is great.
Oh my!
You are too.
Oh my
Shut your
God.
fucking mouth.
I would say I'm a better lyricist than I'm a vocalist, but I appreciate that.
No,
you are a good singer, you asshole.
I listen to all your covers when I work out. I do not hate any of them. Everything is perfect.
Now, Youngie, did you have something you wanted to bring up?
Yes. Before I ask you, the first thing that I wanted to say before it slips my mind is that, like, real quick, like, One Piece fans, like, I'm not hating. I'm just saying that I like a story with a beginning, middle, and end. But I have respect for One Piece as a sort of analog to, like, you know, an ongoing radio show, like, Prairie Home Companion, or even something that's anthology-ish, like Doctor Who. So don't come for me in my Twitter mentions.
I'm actually about to come for you because it's not like Doctor Who blog. It's
in terms of like a long running thing that people
just
enjoy as a family.
like a legacy thing. Okay, sure.
Yeah. But my question is, what was the first piece, or if not the first, like a very formative piece of media or art or like music or something that sort of struck you emotionally and really made you feel something? For me, it was, this is sort of obscure, but and spoiler alert for this, but there's a manga called Battle Angel Alita in the States, or Ganmu. And for me, I was in middle school. I was on the bus and borrowing my friend's volume, and I saw a picture of one of the characters, Yugo. You see him, again, spoiler alert, you see him dead, and he's like disemboweled, and like you see his viscera sort of coming out, and he's like, you know, and it was just such a vivid memory. And it wasn't just that it was scary and something that I probably shouldn't have been looking at, but it was just so emotional and being like, wow, like mortality, a thing. Sure. Wow. So what was that for you?
The question is, what's a piece of, like, the first piece of media or art that really affected me emotionally? Do you have one, Sapphire, while I think?
Is it going to be Legend of Zelda?
No.
Like, does it count if you're, like, really little and you, like, cry, like, because something's sad?
I think it should count, unless you mean, like, when
I think
older.
so. Anything, really.
I'd say the first thing that comes to mind is, like, I'm talking early age, is, like, Littlefoot's mom's death in Land Before Time.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Why are you laughing? What the fuck?
Me and Saph are not nice people. That's like because everyone's like, ooh, when Mufasa dies in Lion King, and I was like, I don't know. I laughed because why didn't he, like, you know, try to...
My thought is, like, why'd he fall like that?
Yeah, and it's so campy because Scar, like, digs his nails in. For me, it was like such a drag queen-esque thing. So
you guys suck. Why? I'm not gonna answer the question. What the hell?
What if have you tried watching The Land Before Time again?
Yes.
Oh.
What about it?
I just thought maybe you find it funny when you're older.
I don't think. I mean, I'm not like sobbing now when I watched The Land Before Time. I'm talking when I was like 4 or whatever. I was like, oh my god, his mom is dead. That sucks. Like, yeah, Okay, Sapphire, what's yours?
Oh, no.
Let's see how really, really cool it is.
You know what? I'm gonna say Hunter x Hunter, the Chimera Ant arc. But
wait, that's the earliest you've been affected about? No.
Well, it doesn't have to be early.
I thought the question was early.
It doesn't have to be.
Because I can't think
of
anything as like a kid.
Because when you're a kid, you don't necessarily grapple with concepts like that immediately.
No.
Everyone's different. Yeah.
Well, then how about in general? Sorry, go ahead with Hunter x Hunter before I...
So Hunter x Hunter.
It was like that Oh, am I allowed to talk about like?
We can do a spoiler warning if you need to do a spoiler warning.
I'll just say it was the Chimera Ant arc, like towards the end.
Yeah.
It was like a certain reunion
Sure.
between like two like
Oh,
side characters that like, and I was studying for my my graduate exam or whatever, that stupid test, like SAT for graduate students, and like. That's when I decided. Yeah. That's when I started binging the show, and I finally got to that part, and like I just started sobbing.
Hold on. To be clear, you're not talking about like the main antagonist of that arc, right? Because a lot of people say that's when they cry, and I'm just like, whatever.
He has like, it was a boy and his daughter.
Okay, then never mind.
And the boy, I think he died. Oh wait, no, it was a reunion with the mother and the daughter.
I know who you're talking. Okay, no, that was very emotional.
The
aunt
daughter. I think she turned into an ant or something.
Right.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
That was nice, but they kind of deserve to get eaten to begin with.
Stop
because
it.
What is wrong with you? Okay.
Wow.
So if we're talking about just like, okay, let me give a better answer than Littlefoot's mom died, which apparently is a hilarious clown fest for you two. If we're just talking about stuff that affected me emotionally, I think in most recent memory, one that hit me just brutally is The Farewell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen it, Sapphire?
I haven't.
You must. It's
Okay.
It's great.
It's the one in the car, right? Is one of the like many moments. For me, that's what it was. Like towards the end, there's a moment in the car, which doesn't exactly spoil, but
there's several moments. There's one moment for me, and it's kind of like it's almost like a funny scene too, but it's when one of the family members gives a speech.
Yeah.
You know one of the one I'm talking about.
At
the banquet. Oh my god. I was a fucking mess, and I don't like cry that often. I mean, in more recent years, I've cried more at movies, but I was like sobbing, and I was like, I need to be quiet because I'm in a public place. Like, but to be fair, everyone around me also was like devastated. But it didn't help that for me. Was it either my grandfather had recently passed away or was like sick or something, and for those of you who are, the movie is about, and I'm not going to say anything about the movie, what happens in the movie, just like the initial premise is that, or is it better that people don't know and just go into it blind?
No, it's in the trailer, right? They don't have to go
basically
into it blind.
The premise of the movie is that the grandma, the matriarch grandma of this family, this Chinese family, gets cancer, but they decide to not tell her. Actually, you know, I'm curious, Youngie, is that something that you experience at all with your family?
No, but the concept of hiding things like that from older folks, because the other part of it too is that they then have to throw a big family reunion funeral for her without telling her that, and it's in the guise of this wedding banquet, which is just a big sham. And so that idea of like lying to protect your family from the truth is absolutely not a foreign concept. Like that's something that,
I mean, that's not a foreign concept for my family either. Yeah. But it was interesting to me.
The funeral part, not so much.
Because I was, you know, when the movie came out, like I was reading articles and they're like, oh, like this, you know, some Chinese families, that's a thing where you just don't talk about death and you just don't acknowledge it. And I was like, that's really interesting because I had not experienced, you know, I can remember Korean family. I had never experienced anything like that, but I thought that was interesting. But anyway, great movie. Made me cry the hardest in like recent memory. So is that a better answer or is that hilarious too? is that really funny?
That's a suitable answer,
good.
I suppose.
Thank you. Now, So you said Hunter x Hunter, and you said, what was your answer again, Youngie?
Battle Angel Alita, the manga.
Is there one in more recent memory then? What's the last thing that made you cry? It's not
Cry
be
is
cry,
a thing.
you know.
It's a thing that all three of us were in, which is the dub for Akudama Drive. Yeah, the very
I was
last
just
episode.
like, I didn't cry.
You didn't. Well,
I love when.
Was it
I can't
the?
spoil. I'm not.
yeah, major spoilers. I can't really say.
Oh, so it's something story related then.
Yeah.
Got
you
it.
should watch it, Songwon. You and Michael Kovacs do a great job. You sound great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, that's why I didn't get the role.
Wait, which one did you audition? Did you
I
audition for
auditioned
Bunny?
for Bunny, but I was just like, you know what? I like this choice. I really do.
he's really good in it. So he always recorded before me, so I got to play off his recordings.
Oh, nice. You both
and I
sounded
was like,
so good together.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was really fun, and it was also funny because I didn't see any scenes outside of that. So it'd be referring to, by the way, for those of you listening, Akudama Drive, watch it. Watch the dub. We're all in it. Who are we all in? I'm Shark. Youngie, you are
Hacker.
And Sapphire, you are
I'm some kid and an executioner.
Yeah.
And it's on Funimation. You should watch it. But I like my character, or not my character, or my character, I guess. My character is always like referring to things that are happening, but I never actually saw any of it. But I've been told the show's pretty good. I suppose I should watch it at some point.
Yeah, it's only like Annie Trend's like anime of the year.
I saw that. Yeah. That's very cool. So was it a mixture of like plot related and also like you were kind of finishing up like this show, or was it just because of what was happening in the
Watch
story?
out, he's gonna cry again.
No. It's it's a combination of the two. I think on its own, it is a very impactful story. Like I know a lot of the fans, bless them, were really invested. And because this show has no plot armor, it doesn't pull any punches. It doesn't coddle the audience at all, and it does so much within 12 episodes. And then part of it absolutely was that for me, it felt like a big personal time of growth, and to see the end of that was very impactful. So a bit of both.
It's so well.
It's well done. I said at like the cast wrap party, which you were not at, Sungwon, nor you, Saf, but
I mean,
I
he
was.
said it was okay that I didn't have to go. She said it was fine.
You were watching the final episode or something. I haven't seen the show. I don't want to spoil
That's
it.
true. That's true. I will. I not to make everything a comparison game, but I really do think that people will look back at this dub, and for a lot of people, it will be their like equivalent of the like Cowboy Bebop dub in terms of like everyone is acting their fucking tits off. It's fantastic. So
nice.
yeah.
I'm gonna end off with one last sort of question, and it's sort of, and I've asked this for other guests as well, but like, what are your it's kind of a cliche, but okay, let's say 5 years, 10 years from now, or whatever. It doesn't have to be a specific period of time, but like, what is your goal creatively? Like, you know, what do you hope to achieve, and what are you working towards? Like, it can be something. It can be either specific, or it can be just whatever you want. If either of you, whichever one of you wants to go first.
You go first, Saf.
Okay. I would like to be in LA. Actually like voicing in Western cartoons and like video games, commercials and all that stuff. Hopefully in a time where, I can hang out with friends, finally.
Yeah.
But I would like to be at least a director for
dubs, or I mean, just and voiceover. I mean,
for dubs, for voiceover in general. Like, I'm not gonna say no to like anime or video games or
sure.
Yeah, but maybe 10 years from now.
Yeah, and the
For
10 years,
that.
and that's not meant to
For
be
that.
like any like it's not like a time limit or anything, right? Like
Yeah, no. Like,
I just meant like in your future, like I
Right.
think also a lot of people, not to derail, but a lot of people get caught up in like I got to do it fast, right? Got to go fast, very Sonic energy, right? You just gotta. I think for me, it's like I don't know. You've got your whole damn life,
Yeah.
all right. You've
can't
got
help
your
it
whole.
though, because you got parents who will tell you like, "What are you doing? You don't have kids yet. You're 26.
Social
Like,
media too.
Where's your house? You're gonna blah, blah, blah," like all this stuff, and like it kind of sticks with you.
That's true, but also you're 26, baby.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not. Okay.
I'm 31. I'm 31.
Oh, okay. I was gonna be like, okay. I mean, that
You're gonna like slap me across the face.
I was gonna be like,
I can tell.
I've definitely heard from people around that age, like, oh, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No.
Like,
Baby.
yeah, baby. Okay. Yeah. I do think people get. Obviously, it doesn't help that you're always comparing yourself to others and like blah 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 blah. But for me, it's like it's not a race. It's it's
Right.
Everyone's got their own path. But sorry to
marathon.
interrupt. But was there anything
No,
else you
you're
wanted to
fine.
add on to anything else?
Not really.
You should come here though, because that way you can have my leftover Triscuits or whatever.
I don't want
done with
those.
that.
Actually, I was very disgusted that you made that video, but whatever.
You were
like
disgusted.
I
Wait, because
hate Triscuits. I hate them.
Interesting. I am fine with them. I'm
They
kind of
taste
sick
so
of them
weird.
now. They taste like wheat. What's like
It's a little too sweet, maybe. Like maybe I just don't like.
sweet?
Like,
Interesting.
yeah, for me they're sweet. Like
She's very
you know
sensitive
those,
to sugar.
You know those,
Huh.
but I will like devour a whole bag of like sour gummy worms in one sitting. But
Fascinating.
but only because it makes sense. Because it's just like I know this is supposed to be sweet, and that's fine. But like for something like crackers, it reminds me of sun. What are those nasty?
Sun chips?
Yes, I hate them.
You don't like sun chips?
I
They're
hate
fine.
them.
I love sun chips. What the fuck? All right. Maybe don't come to LA. No, I would love. I definitely think I will see you here at some point.
Yeah, you definitely will.
and-
Once I'm
oh,
all
yeah.
vaccinated, and
Mm.
we're all vaccinated.
So we should absolutely hang. Now, Youngie, what's your answer to the question?
Well, first, I will say that I don't see you being on the directing track in 10 years. I see it, that happening much sooner for you.
Hell yeah.
You've been a project lead since I've known you on stuff, so it doesn't need to be that long. For me, it is some version of just continuing to do what I'm doing now, through all of my peers and wonderful friends, present company included, who've been so encouraging and tossed my name in the hat for like scripting or for like music stuff or for voice acting, or for classes or whatever. Like it's been really wonderful to participate in all of that, despite just sort of being sequestered at home. And so I'd like to, even before last year, like I knew that I wanted to get out of where I am now, which is New York, and go to either Dallas or LA or both. So yeah, more of that.
I think for both of you, I mean, I'm sure you already know this, but I think you're both very talented, and it's only a matter of time. I'll keep LA warm for you, and then
Thank you.
Sapphire, do you play board games at all? I know you played a little bit with us on the streams, but
I did. It was very fun.
do you have any interest?
I have a competitive itch that usually needs scratching, but I
She
don't
really does.
think I've ever used. I've never played board games for that reason though. Like board games like Monopoly and Scuffed Uno. Oh no, wait, that's not a board game.
Well, no. It's
Monopoly?
It's a tabletop game.
Okay. If you have that.
I will say, next time either of you or both of you or whatever are here, if you would like to play, we should play. I'm constantly indoctrinating people.
Yes.
Especially people who have a lot of people who have never ever like dipped their toes into it. I am very good at showing people the light. Like there's so many good board games, and when you visit or move here, we can play them. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
Cool. Now, where can people find you? We'll start with you, Sapphire.
Oh my gosh, I love to live on Twitter, even though I'm trying to like not tweet as much. But you can find me through my handle at Sapphire. So that's SAPPHBERRY on Twitter, Patreon, Facebook, YouTube. If you find me on Twitter, you'll find me on YouTube at some point. But my YouTube channel is under like Sapphire, but the URL has like Strawberry Cream 26 for when I thought I was gonna abandon the channel. But yeah, you can find
I'm glad
me
you
all over
didn't.
the place.
Yeah.
All right, and Youngie, how about you?
You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/ychang. But more often, I'm on Twitter at YoungieChang, YUNGICHANG.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming on. I honestly feel like we could just keep talking for like an hour more, but I'll have to have you both on again at some point.
Yeah,
Please.
for
This
sure.
was a lot
This
of
was
fun. Yeah.
I liked it. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure what I was
I'm glad.
expecting. YJ was like, do your research, listen to all the podcasts, and I was just like,
Oh my God, Youngie, no, you don't.
You're blowing
you
up my spot. We're supposed to end now, and you're blowing up my spot.
No, it's fine. It's good
That's
if
my
we
job.
end on embarrassing Youngie a little bit. That's not
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Trauma.
all right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, all.
Bye.